Hey guys, today I'm giving you my review of Marvel's Captain Marvel. It tells the story of how Carol Danvers becomes who she is, and there's a lot of things that were very good in this film. There's also a lot of things that I thought were very bad and flawed. A lot of people are saying the same things, so I'm sure you're gonna hear a lot of things from me that everybody else has said, but I'm still gonna go through them. I'm also gonna mention some things that I personally had kind of like issues with, and so let's get started. So the story behind Captain Marvel, so she has this thing of like amnesia where she doesn't know, kind of anything about herself. She knows what is current, what she's currently doing and things like that, but she can't remember anything of her past. The way that the movie chooses to do this is kind of by showing you little glimpses and images of things that she's been through, but that things that she doesn't remember. This was kind of a weird way for them to go about it, just because I don't really feel like it gives you a really good sense of who she is. I felt like it was a very quick cop out of actually giving you, a full story and kind of showing her character a little bit more. I don't really feel like we kind of get a good gist of her character. I mean, yeah, we know that she becomes into this hero-esque, this heroine. She's very charismatic, she's very quirky, she's very sarcastic, and she's very eager, but we don't really see much of anything else in her. I don't think that Brie Larson was a bad choice. I think it's just the way that she portrayed this character. I don't know if it was because she was asked to do it this way. Maybe she didn't have enough say in it, but it just doesn't, it feels very robotic. It doesn't really feel like she's able to express herself the way she would. There's literally one moment where something pretty severe happens in the film, and she's really just not fazed by it the way you would think someone would be. And I felt like that was a very big missed part, because you're having a hard time kind of connecting to this character that just literally has like a blank face the entire time, or she's just so quick to assess something that she's not really giving the correct amount of time, that like not dedicating emotions to certain things that are going on. And it's kind of funny because the entire film they keep telling her, you're too emotional, you're too emotional. She's not emotional enough. Like, it's kind of funny because it's like the film was trying to make you feel like she's this emotional, character, but she's really not. I actually felt like she wasn't giving us enough. So that was one of my main issues with the story, and just her development as well. We kind of see her at her best when she's interacting with Samuel L. Jackson's character, Nick Fury. Their whole, scenes when they're together was a very, very, it kind of made the movie, it was a lot more heartwarming, and it was funny because, in the movie, she, does have another character, whom she is supposed to be close with, but her reaction to this character and just kind of being with this character just didn't feel as authentic and as great as her being with Nick Fury. Story was kind of like, very predictable. A lot of things that happened, I was just like, yep. And they're gonna, yep. Oh, okay. And yep. There were some different things that were pretty cool, that happened. Kind of, fresh to see and nice. But for the most part, the film's pretty predictable. A lot of action. There really isn't much. There's like maybe 3 or 4 scenes that I can think of, but they're not memorable things. They're not things that I, would remember like 10 years, 5 years, maybe even 2 years. I'm not going to think, hey, remember that battle? It's just not one of those battles. I thought the opening scene with her and Jude Law was very, very cool. That felt like a complete action scene. We could clearly see what was going on. It was very, very real. It was cool. Everything else after that was very, very hard to see. It was very dark. It was choppy. The cameras were flying everywhere every time a scene happened. And it was very upsetting because I feel like this happened again in Black Panther, where, the climax of the film when he's fighting Killmonger, we couldn't see anything. And they were both wearing black suits. And so this kind of felt a lot like Black Panther, where we were trying to figure out what was going on. They were all wearing the same suit, and yes, her colors were different, but she was in a dark area, so it's like she kind of blended, you know. We really couldn't tell her different from other than like the proton shots she was doing. But other than that, it was all blended together. There were very scenes. I mean, the train scene was cool, but it wasn't cool enough to carry the entire film. And the end scene, there was a lot of potential there to do a lot more, and unfortunately, it just wasn't done. So that was very sad. The enemies in the film, they're boring. They don't really have, I mean, other than maybe control and power, which is like classic cliche enemy. I don't really feel like these enemies were very compelling. They weren't very strong enemies. There wasn't really anything behind what they were doing. They were just classic bad guys, and it was kind of lame. I didn't really care. There is an additional character in this film that I think really helped the film to be better. His character and kind of along what he goes through and how Captain Marvel then integrates herself into his story. That was pretty cool. I felt like that helped to make the story legitimately better. But for the most part, most of the enemies were just basic enemies. There was nothing really behind, nothing important behind what they were doing. And that was really sad. Side characters, not memorable. The only characters that, that are really worth, mentioning are Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson. Everybody else is kind of just floating there. Or, the other character, like I said, the other creature that makes its appearance, that character was also good as well. There wasn't much time to develop these characters, so it was really hard for you to kind of care about them in a sense. Samuel L. Jackson, he's already a character we've seen many, many times, so I feel like with him, kind of being out of the way, we knowing him, we're establishing, a relationship with him already. This could have been a good opportunity to kind of focus on other characters. We just didn't get that. I didn't care about any of the characters just because they just weren't given the kind of attention they should have been given, even the main character. So that was a severely big letdown on their part. The comedy in the movie is there. It's not as funny as Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's funny. It's funny enough, especially, kind of the way Brie Larson depicts her character. She's very snarky and, just her very plucky attitude. It's very funny, kind of the way they go about things when she first, gets to Earth. The whole thing with the dial-up. Those are really funny things, especially because they're relatable. I think that's why they're so funny. But it was very cool that they played into that. The first scene from when she crashes into the Blockbuster, people found that funny. I mean, it's because they're just nostalgic, But it was funny. It wasn't, ridiculously funny, but I thought it was a good piece of humor that kind of reminded you, it kept up with the theme that Marvel's been doing with giving us nice little quirky, fun comedy things, like comedy skits. I don't really feel like this movie will be remembered, unfortunately. It's just not as epic as they intended it to be. It's not a movie that I could constantly watch over and over again. There was a lot of talk about her. There was a lot of hype over her, and we were severely let down. She was not given the attention and the love that she should have gotten. And I don't know if it's because they went with the directors they went with. I don't know really what happened. I don't know if it was the script. It could have, there was just so many things that were involved. But it's a very big shame because we've been waiting for this character. We were so excited. And this was the film, this is the film right before Endgame. So this was a really, really big, crucial film that unfortunately just didn't deliver. So let's go ahead and score this up. I'm going to give Marvel's Captain Marvel a 3. Guys, thank you so much for watching this film. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the end to see more. And I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya.